Hey, Stefan. I got Stefan here.
Yo, man.
Um, Stefan's a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a while. We worked together. But yeah, Steph, why don't you start by telling everyone like what you do, like what things have you done, sort of like a general overview about
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
and the
Um,
business.
yeah, I'm Stefan, and I'm the director and owner of Saru General, a streetwear. Well, I would say it's probably under the bracket of a streetwear store. Um, yeah,
E-commerce.
e-commerce. Yeah, it's an online store, right? I wouldn't, we haven't got a physical location or anything, so it's just an online store for now. But yeah, we sell vintage and new streetwear, sneakers, streetwear, and luxury products.
Yeah.
Um,
And how did you first start out with it?
yeah, at first it was kind of just like a hobby. So I was like collecting Bape pieces for myself. Um, Bape and Supreme pieces for myself. Like, I was into Mr. Bathing Ape, which is like a um, blazers and it's like formal wear. So I was into that at first and just like collecting just such random shit. Like I had like a Babe chair, couple of t-shirts, like 90s Babe t-shirts and stuff like that. So yeah, first it was just collecting, and then I started to like post some of my stuff in like Facebook groups into like Babe Talk. So then I kind of realized that there was people interested in the stuff that I had, and if there was a few pieces which I'd had for a while, I'd see if I was able to get rid of them, and yeah, I could flip a profit on a few things. So yeah, just started from there really.
Yeah, started out as a hobby,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then you
yeah. And I was
yeah, go
like
on.
huge into like the Supreme scene as well. So when I was kicking off, like back in 2015, 2016, me and my friend used to take the bus up to London to like camp out for like drops and stuff. So and yeah, we'd bring it home and flip it for a profit. So it was easy,
Yeah, hustling.
Yeah, hustling, but there was a lot of money to be made in Supreme back then. It was, kids which were 15 making, £1,000 like just camping out every couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And you went from just doing it, running down to London, grabbing stuff, flipping it. Then you started creating. You made Babe Talk, which is a Facebook page, right? One of the biggest in the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah. I didn't actually make that myself. It was already there. It was a like 10K um members, but then I started to post in it a lot more, and it just kept growing. So people
Yeah,
think I'm the creator of it, but I'm just like one of the admins. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
So you,
guess yeah, I guess I was the one admin out of the few admins that had like a real passion for the Bape clothing and the whole streetwear scene. So
yeah. So it was like a hobby, grew into a big passion, like started being a leader in a community, and then
yeah,
like from there, yeah,
yeah.
and it was
From there, it was keep on collecting, keep on posting cool stuff, keep on selling stuff, and the collection and the stuff that I had, the stock just kept on building up. So I just knew I was sitting on like a small fortune, like when I was only 17, 18. So it was cool.
yeah, because this was way before we met.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'd been running for a couple of years before we met.
because we
And then
met at uni.
when we met at university, that's when he was like really kicking off. And then I decided, I'm doing this all the time. It's my passion. I'm just going to stop doing university at least for the time being. Dropped out, and then just kept on reselling.
Yeah, because I remember coming in. You were friends of a friend, and they were telling me, "Oh yeah, Stefan makes loads of money, he sells loads of clothes. And I remember coming for a party, or I can't remember what it was. And then I just came into your room and it was just like stacks and stacks and stacks of like super expensive clothes with boxes, everything. I just didn't understand. I didn't really understand it. I knew there was money there. That's what I understood. And that was sort of like the transitional phase. You just said you weren't planning. Your goal wasn't to do this forever. You were at uni doing architecture.
Yeah, engineering and architecture. Yeah.
Yeah, architecture. So yeah, your goal was uni, but then it just got too. You summed it up.
Yeah.
What was the best way to go? Right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, there was a lot of people at uni kind of just messing around. So I was like, I've got an opportunity, so I'm gonna kind of take it.
Yeah. And I was definitely in the messing around category.
Yeah, but you kind of knew what you wanted to. You were smart enough to, you were going to figure it out eventually.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so eventually you got your own place, and then so it went from a shared house even, and then you moved into your own place, and it was still sort of like it was bootstrapped a lot, but you were doing how much at this stage? How much were you doing a month? Do you reckon? How much were you selling?
It's hard to tell, but maybe like 10, 20K a month, maybe.
Yeah.
But there was like more of a transition stage between the shared house and getting my own place as well, because I went back to my parents for like half a year or something. And that's where I was kind of just going crazy. I was like up all night taking pictures of stock, trying to get onto the website every single week. And the amount of hours that I put in was crazy. And I was lucky that I had a place to put all of my stuff, because at that point I had like a garage full of stuff. Like the inventory must have been worth like 50 to 100K at that point. And yeah, it was just all stacked into my parents' garage, and yeah, I was going crazy at that point. And then I managed to find a place to live in back in Bristol, and then I turned that pretty much into a warehouse as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kept on going from there. Managed to build a mini warehouse in the flat.
Mini warehouse. It was pretty well done. And then you hired.
That was the first time I hired somebody, and it was just like kind of through friends like that I knew from university. So it was cool to work with people, but I was just like super focused at that point. Like nothing was going to stop me. I was like, I'm going to be like a self-made millionaire, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And like this is around the time when I started helping you out a little bit as well. Like it was around then.
Yeah, I'd moved into the flat. I was doing it for maybe like half a year, and then you said to me, "Yo, Steph, like, can I run a couple of ads for you?" And I was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah. And yeah, I think it like maybe a rocky start, but from there, like I learned so much because you gave me a chance.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember you and you were still in the house then, and you had some employees, but I guess everyone had gone home because everyone was working from your house as well, because that was the only place. But it was over Christmas. I remember you saying, "I can't keep up with these orders." It was crazy.
No, I mean, that's just like the one wonder of like the marketing that you do, the ads that you run. Is like you can scale something so quickly and get the customers there that you need, and then it's kind of like, where do you go from that step as a business? How do you keep up with them orders? You have to have the space, you have to be able to handle the shipping and stuff like that. So yeah. And then that's when when I decided I needed to kind of move out of the flat and get like another warehouse which was even bigger.
Yeah. So we're literally, you were. I think when I came on, you were crushing it as well. You had this cool new idea for a new product, and when I came on, it sort of like it scaled up a lot by Christmas. Yeah, you were like you couldn't keep up with the orders. I think and then you spend like, you maybe had a month or where it slowed down a bit whilst you took that, well, you know, a lot of business owners don't slow down a bit, but you slowed down a bit for a month, and you found a bigger office, you hired more as well, because you had the big question, like, is this going to fucking last? Who do I hire? How do I hire? And like, where do I go? Because like, I mean, it was at that stage. It wasn't a case of like, I don't know where my next order is going to come from. It was like, I don't know. I need to get the product so I can sell more.
It was more like, how do I get the stock quick enough and get it out quick enough? You know, but it was the employing people was kind of easy because one, you know, it was just like friends of friends, and two, I had you to be able to just be like, look, this guy's looking for work. You can just hire him, and yeah, it wasn't really at that stage. It wasn't like, you know, permanent contracts and stuff like that. It was just kind of super flexible. You turn up and you work. So
boys in boxes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bringing the boys in, getting the reinforcements in. Yeah, it was super.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was, you know, like a group. It turned out to be like a group of, well, it was like 4 or 5 boys, and we were kind of just, you know, just enjoying doing work, I guess, because you don't usually get that opportunity to enjoy the work that you do. Usually you're working for some guy who's, you know, telling you to do some kind of shit job, go and do this, go and do that. But it was more of like, there was a lot of creativity. We were talking a lot. We were bringing forward ideas and kind of just smashing it.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I mean, it was super like chilled out, and everyone sort of brought their own perspective. Like I was marketing, obviously you were like leading the show. Then you had some creative inputs, even though you probably led that as well. You're very. I remember you spent like you had a whole day for one Instagram post. I think that's what a lot of brands miss. So you say Stefan spent like 7 hours working on one Instagram post.
One picture,
picture.
I did that all the time. Like that's the stuff that I love doing, is that creative stuff, creating Instagram posts and putting it out there for people to see. Like the rest of it's just kind of, you know, it's not as fun as the creativity. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like the creativity is fun, and that's what made my job super easy at that time, because it was super simple.
You had enough stuff to put out there,
and it was fire. Like I knew it was up. Like it's the stuff which I'm always trying to tell the brands we work with now. I'm just like, this is like, that was exactly what people wanted. It wasn't like what you wanted. But you, to be fair, you were the people at that point as well, like very much so. So you knew exactly what the people wanted. It wasn't like a vision like, oh shit, we got to make like this like big Coca-Cola style sort of like high production value. It was like, no, this is what people want. I've been doing this for years. This is fucking work.
Yeah. Well, you know what people want. They want the best product possible at, like, you know, the best price as well. So it's just about finding that and putting it out there. And these products are always going to sell because they're such good value. It's a lot of these other sellers are selling them at like a rip-off price. Like I've been to so many stores around the world, and I know that I'm putting good product out there, and it's, you know, these guys are not able to match that price.
Yeah, and that was something which like really separated us from everyone else, because the stores in person were just like almost like way more expensive than we were. So we sort of crushed it on price. Yeah, we sort of were very similar to the audience, and then like the problems we had to tackle were like actually getting the products in. We could get them in, but like at the scale we wanted to, became a lot harder. Mm-hmm. And then customer service, which we were pretty good at. Like we shipped pretty quick actually. As well. I think we spent a lot of time trying to figure out the best way to like ship out really fast to our customers, because we wanted to be like Amazon a little bit.
You could tell that
we might not have needed to.
Thinking
about it now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but the orders were flying out, at least for majority of the time. there were sometimes when we would put so much into marketing and we kind of like we overspent and we had like a backlog of orders, and that's kind of when it made it more difficult.
Yeah, I think we had I think for 1 year we spent, about 100 grand on Facebook ads, and we had 1 million in sales just from that account. So it's like a 10 times return. But obviously, like we might not at some stages we might not have had 1 million, for the supply, the products.
Yeah. So we were kind of backlogged. It was trying to keep up with them orders.
It was like a question. Yeah, it was a question. We wanted to spend more when it was working though as well. Like
Yeah. It could have easily scaled up further than that. You just need the stock just wasn't there, and it just wasn't rolling as smoothly as it could have been. But it's all learning anyway. It's like
I think we did pretty well.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
for the time.
Yeah, for the time,
If we,
like definitely.
yeah, if we're talking about like literally like 6 months before, you didn't. You're in your dad's garage, your parents' garage, and then like you moved into the house. Then you got for office or warehouse you hired. You probably went from doing like 10K to like what 60K on average a month, something like that, maybe.
Like 100K in some months.
We did 100. We did 100K over 24 hours on that Black Friday.
Yeah,
Because that was I remember it was last minute. We had, I think, for that weekend we had 25 times return on the Facebook ads, which is insane. And we spent a decent bit as well. But like I remember a last minute rush to try and get this influencer campaign going. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean we had a lot of influencers like posting for us, and then we also had I'm pretty sure we had a Harrison Neville video out.
That's what I mean, yeah.
It kind of all just came through in the end. It wasn't, and then we couldn't. We were like, shit. How do we even keep up with this? We got 1,000 orders.
Yeah.
How do we do this?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, legitimately, like we used to do this. You did this. That was like your whole year last year. How do we do this in 20? Like, how do we supply this in 24 hours now?
Yeah.
And you said Harrison Neville. Harrison Neville, big YouTuber, super perfect for our niche. But at that time, we had like a massive list of influencers. So that's what worked like really well on Instagram. I think if brands did the same thing we were doing then on TikTok, like it was a lot of fucking work messaging all these people and organizing it. But if they did what we did then on TikTok, they crushed it. And I try and get them to do that.
There's a lot more influencers on TikTok, and there's just like in general, there's just so many more influencers out there these days.
Yeah.
You could crush it just on that alone if you were to. You just need the right amount of money to put towards these influencers to be able to get a brand popping.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we did like deep dives into figuring out how many views, like what was the cost per view and etc. like that. But it's super hard to tell what influencers working for you, how well they're working, and also like the big ones. Like we were pretty good. We had a good relationship with a lot of the super good big guys. And so we probably get quite good rates. But it's all about building relationships with those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said, it's hard to tell how much value they actually bring as well. There were some huge ones that we did use, and they didn't end up being great. Like there was one, you remember Becky G? She was like
she had like 20 million followers.
Yeah, 20 million followers. But when you see the followers that you're picking up from the promotion that she did, it's kind of just like kids, like Spanish kids. It doesn't. They're not really going to convert. So you have to just think, is it all about the numbers, or is it, the person? Is the person going to bring true value to your company? Like Harrison and the Star Life, they were all in the streetwear scene, sneaker scene. So the value that they brought was crazy.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
some of the videos, like the one we did with Harrison, like if you look at it now, it's on like 2 million views plus. So like that's a crazy achievement.
Yeah, massive. And I remember like it was like we need to do this for Black Friday,
Yeah,
last minute, and I was like, can we do it? And you were like, we can do it. And we just like, I can't remember, we must have stayed, yeah, I think it was the Friday before. We stayed really late, and you made this mega parcel for him. And
yeah,
there's a video of him holding this parcel. I think you must have wrapped it in so much tape, and it looked awesome. And we sent it out. I think it cost us quite a lot to send it. It was like
yeah.
next
That
day.
was the bomb. Yeah,
But then it was like so worth it because by the time it came Black Friday, he posted it. He was super quick on posting it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
everything sort of worked, and then it just popped off.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
It was yeah, but like that's the thing. And what you were saying about Becky G is something which I always try, and that's a lesson I remember from then. But I always try and implement it now. It's like, and also with the ads as well. It's like numbers, big numbers, stuff. Great, like it's an ego thing more than anything else. And also, like you think you see Coca-Cola do it, you see like what was it, Kylie Jenner on the Pepsi ad, and you're just like, well, if they're doing it, it must really work, right?
yeah,
But actually, it's a completely different thing for like when you're a smaller brand because you actually got to like if you talk to less people who are the right people, make way more money.
yeah.
Because you're not
It could be like, you know, a small YouTuber who's only getting a couple of thousand views on a video, but if it's your niche, then it's gonna work. It
yeah.
could work way better than something that gets like 500,000 views. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
We had a lot of and also we sort of made had a product which encouraged people, and we added extra little things to post on YouTube organically. They posted on Instagram organically. We had so much content like that. It was killer.
yeah, we weren't short for content.
Yeah. Well, we made assistance. Like we were saying, yeah, it's like, yeah, we did spend time and we did rush it, but also everything we did was just like, okay, this is going to work. This is going to
Yeah,
work.
yeah. Now, it's been a massive learning curve for me for sure, because it's like, you know, nowadays I think a little bit more before I make certain decisions, whereas then within that period when we were working together and before that, it was so rushed. I was, you know, it was like, shit, how do I make so much money quickly?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
it was there in front of us, right? So we just went and got it.
yeah.
Yeah. But we weren't sure. We didn't even ask the question if we actually wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah, there were some things where we probably didn't discuss for long enough. It was just like, yeah, let's just do that shit. But then like the learning, the experience you get from that is just so key to then working on the business in the future. Like you've probably learned so much that you can kind of provide value to your existing customers now. And the same for me, like there's decisions that I just wouldn't make that I made back then.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like you always learn from your failures more than your successes, right? But like after that, like spent a lot of time trying to make really pretty ads, like content which like I went into sort of like the Becky G thing, you know what I mean? I started trying to make stuff which just looked really good, but just didn't think about the audience enough, didn't think about who I was talking to, just tried to just, oh yeah, this will work. And it just was way worse. So it took me a while to like actually think back to those times and remember what actually worked back then. And it was just actually, you know, being a bit ugly, like no one was doing stuff what we were doing then, like content wise, what you were doing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
People copied it. But
yeah.
it was
I used to
crazy.
hate when people used to copy like just anything. Yeah, I was just so like protective over it. Like anybody's trying to copy it, I'm like, fuck those guys. Like, and, right, like if something's gonna happen, like there's gonna be people which are gonna do the same thing or similar things, and you just gotta kind of deal with it, or just like make something which is bulletproof. Like, if you're that creative, you can make something which nobody else is going to be able to duplicate.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's kind of yeah, that's what I learned and what I like continue to kind of stand by.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money out there as well for everyone, but it's like spending more time thinking about like coming up with a big idea for a sort of content, something which is more disruptive, something which gets in their face a little bit, and what people actually really want to see. You know what I mean? Draw
Yeah,
inspiration rather than just rushing it out. Like a lot of people will just like, oh, we need to post every day on Instagram, and then they'll just make 30 posts or whatever, or TikTok as well, and just put it out there, and just like, oh, why isn't it working?
why isn't it getting traction? Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, they need to figure out who their audience is and connect with them in a better way. Like if they've got 100 followers, they need to make sure that them 100 followers are engaging in what they're doing before they try and put out more content. It's probably best if. And I'm just talking about like these really small businesses, like startups, like how they approach it. Like
yeah.
it's better to like work on content for a long period of time, like a couple of weeks, and put out 1 or 2 videos that are gonna be eye catching. But yeah, like you said, a lot of these companies they put out like 30 posts and they get like 10 likes on each one, and it's like,
Just
well,
going through the motions of
yeah,
it, you know
like
what I
how
mean?
do
Rather
you
than actually like
you can't expect
doing it.
things to sell when you're not like fully engaged with an audience.
Yeah, yeah. And like that was one of the things which you always had because of I think it was naturally happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like it was a very community thing when you
yeah.
first started out, right?
Yeah,
It's like
exactly. I had the Facebook group, and that was like 50,000 members at that point. So I kind of, if I posted anything in there, I had a whole community of people which were kind of backing me. So it
yeah,
worked well. And then from there, you pick up, a lot more people because it's kind of people are finding like a trend. So
yeah. And at the time, I probably didn't understand it, but it's a key marketing principle is like authority, obviously trust as well.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
so many times, and I remember telling my friends about it. I was just like, yeah, no. Like when I was trying to explain to my friends like what I was doing, I was like, like he's like the admin of Baketoy, 50,000 members. People go to him. That was one of the things we said. People came to you to
yeah.
see if the products were
It's
real and legit.
authentic.
You were the
Yeah,
guy to
yeah,
talk to. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, I still,
it
I
was super.
still try and do that now. It's like you gotta make sure that the followers know that everything you're selling is like super authentic. Because nowadays we're selling, Louis Vuitton, and it's a brand where a lot of people are like, well, is that really authentic? Especially the prices that we put it up for. But
Yeah.
I try to like dig into like details, so like making sure that there's like showing the customers how to authenticate it themselves, like showing them the tags, etc. So yeah, they know for sure the products are authentic.
Yeah, and that was one of the things we did as well. Is we tried to make that guide, the authenticity guide, for free. We just gave it
Yeah,
out for
yeah,
free. We
yeah.
were always trying to do
It's so
something for
time.
the
It's
community.
like super time consuming to do stuff like that, but you got to try and put it out there.
Yeah, and like what I was saying about the authenticity and trust, like other brands can do this. It doesn't have to be like specific to like legit checking. That's what it's called, Louis Vuitton, to see if it's real. Like
Yeah,
it can be anything. Like it can be if you're a doctor or you get a doctor to approve your supplement, or if you've got a history of like health and food products. Like you can be an authority figure if you're selling like a home workout gym or like a workout. Yeah,
yeah,
you see
yeah,
like Mark Wahlberg, like he's Marky Mark, you know what I mean? And Chris Hemsworth, he's massive. He sells his center app. It's authority and trust, massive sellers,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
So like if you can build a community, give value, then it makes it way easier to make sales in the long run. Because
yeah.
we always had that to go back on. And people Googled to find out if you're legit. Everyone's just like, yeah, obviously he's legit. It was more like that, rather than leaving questions. So no, this is the guy. I might have lost them.
Yeah, I think you
Maybe
just
like that.
froze then.
Yo,
Yo, you froze for like a couple of minutes.
I think you lagged out. But anyway, I've got it's been a half an hour. We're gonna do a longer form one of these, but I just want to go over just like a highlights what we spoke about. Hobby into passion, and then it went at university doing about 10K a month to moving back home, dropping out of uni, taking the big risk, back in a garage, from a garage to a home office to a full-time office with, I think you had 4 employees at that point,
Boys, yeah.
doing
Yeah,
about
another
60K a
thing you
month.
got to think of is like the, all of these people, they were on full-time wages as well. It's like 5 or 6 people. I'm like providing, the money that they're gonna take home for the year.
Yeah,
they're totally reliant on me. It's
yeah,
like
it was it.
it's a good feeling to have, people which are working for you for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit daunting, but yeah. So like,
Yeah,
it was literally, but from like in a garage to having that. By the end of within 12 months, it was like you had, I don't know how many employees you had at most, maybe 6 or 7, and we did 100K in a day, all in
yeah,
a year period, through the power of having an authentic brand, authoritative brand, people trusting us, killer Facebook ads, focusing a lot on the creative, on content, and
yeah,
just like being the audience, so really, really understanding the audience. And they were like the 5 key things we did, which just allowed us to grow rapidly in 12 months.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like the 5 key principles, bro. Like we should sell those. Like, yeah,
No,
like you
I'm
said.
not trying to sell anything.